Okay. My apologies for not being with you this afternoon. I'm going to be on a plane in a few hours. I'm heading to the Midwest to see if we can support some candidates in Michigan and Wisconsin and Illinois who are going to take on the Trump agenda. All right. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next 3 days. Frankly, I'd rather be in Brattleboro, but that's the nature of my life now. Let me talk just for a few minutes as to what I see going on in the country today and in Washington, and then open it up for any questions you might have. In many respects, the country today, and I wish I didn't have to tell you this, but you already know it, is facing more crises, I think, than we have faced in our lifetime. It is a very, very difficult moment for the United States. The immediate concern that I have, maybe the most pressing, is Trump's moving this country toward an authoritarian form of society. And by that I mean he is usurping the powers of Congress, challenging court decisions, threatening to impeach judges, going after the media, trying to intimidate media who will call him out, going after universities because he doesn't like the courses they are teaching or student protests, going after political opponents now, threatening to persecute people who were on the House committee that impeached him, and now more visibly bringing federal agents into Washington, D.C., etc. So you add all that together, this is a movement toward authoritarianism that we have not seen in our lifetimes, or if ever in the United States. And obviously this is something that we've got to confront, and we're working as hard as we can. Love to hear your ideas on that. So that's immediate issue number one. And second issue, not going to be in the front pages of the papers, but is tied to the first issue of authoritarianism, is you're looking at a nation and, in fact, a world where fewer and fewer unbelievably wealthy multi-billionaires control our economy and control our political life. So this is not something that you're going to read about too much, but you got unprecedented income and wealth inequality in America today. We're the richest country in the history of the world, but most people don't know it because you got one guy, in this case Elon Musk, who owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. Can you believe that? One person owns more wealth than the bottom 52% of American households. And that is unprecedented. That kind of inequality is unprecedented, and then it translates then into our political system. So it's not just Trump who is trying to undermine democracy in many ways. It is a corrupt campaign finance system which allows these billionaires to control both political parties because of this disastrous, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision. Familiar with that? Yeah, and what that is about is it allows super PACs to spend as much money as they want. So you got some billionaire who doesn't like me or doesn't like any other candidate, put hundreds of millions of dollars into a super PAC, and they can defeat their opponents and support people who agree with them. And in the midst of all that, what you're seeing as part of this movement toward authoritarianism is in the Republican Party right now, and this is, again, unprecedented. There is almost no dissent. There's no independent thinking. You've had in the past, certainly from Vermont, we've had senators, your own senators, people from the Brattleboro area, Gibson and Aiken and others, people whose views were not mainstream Republican. But right now, any Republican who dares to disagree with Trump on an issue will find himself or herself in very serious political water. They'll be challenged in a primary by people with unlimited amounts of money. So that's a real issue of concern. Part of the struggle to save American democracy is a corrupt campaign finance system and how we deal with that. And then you got basically the economic issues, and that is that while the very rich get richer, I don't have to tell anybody in the room, we're seeing the middle class struggling. 60% of our people live in paycheck to paycheck. People are struggling to buy decent quality food for their kids, pay for housing, pay for health care, send their kids to college, provide child care. And then in the midst of all that, Trump and his friends decide to pass the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill, which is the worst piece of legislation passed in the modern history of America. So we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people. Everybody knows our health care system is in trouble, in serious trouble, and Trump makes it much worse by throwing 15 million more people, including 50,000 in Vermont, off of the health care that they have by making massive cuts to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. Now, in the midst of all that, some tentatively good news. We've been working for years, and it has been an unbelievable struggle to get it done through the bureaucracy. But I think we are going to establish the first federally qualified community health system in Windham County very shortly. So what we are working with, we brought in $4 million, God, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and we just had to deal with the bureaucratic hurdles. But I think my staff has worked very hard on this. We are close to being working with the Springfield Community Health Center and Brattleboro Memorial Hospital to put something together which will expand dental care and primary health care in Brattleboro and Putney and so forth. So I think we're making a little bit of progress in that. All right, so that is all that there's a lot to be said, but I would love to take any questions that you might have. Just let James know what you're thinking about, and let's go from there.
Yep, just a second, Senator.
Senator, thank you so much for leading with votes on 2 resolutions last month against supplying Israel with more weapons. An historically large number of Democrats voted with you on this. We're concerned about the Israeli government starving people right now. Will you introduce the War Powers resolution now or reintroduce your 502B from a year and a half ago, please? Thank you.
Well, thank you. This is an issue we've been working very, very hard on, and as you indicated, taking a leadership position. I think everybody in the room understands that what is going on in Gaza right now is almost literally unspeakable. One does not want to speak it. The idea that U.S. military aid is being used to starve children to death in Gaza, kill innocent people, is disgusting to say the least. So we are working on our strategies. As you indicate, we have made some success in turning the tide, I think. I think we have now gone from a relatively few of us making it clear that Netanyahu and his government should not get any more military aid to now a fairly large majority in the Democratic caucus. And I think that number is going to grow. The challenge now that we face and what we're focusing on is, I think, the average Republican in Vermont and in this country does not think we should spend billions of dollars to kill innocent people. So that's our movement right now. But to answer your question, we are going to be very aggressive on this. Congress is now in recess. We'll be back after Labor Day, and this will be absolutely at the top, one of the issues at the top of my agenda that we're going to deal with. So yes, we are going to work very aggressively, working on the particular strategy, but this is an issue we're going to continue to fight.
Thank you. Thanks, Senator. One moment, we're going to pick another person.
Thank you. Hi, Senator Sanders. You got it.
Hi.
Hi. My name is Renee Wallaber. I'm from the organization Senior Solutions. And as you know, we get a lot of our funding from the Older Americans Act. The Administration on Community Living, which is part of HHS, is being dissolved. That department is the administrator of the Older Americans Act. Can you let us know what sort of the status is of the Older Americans Act and what is happening at HHS under Senator Kennedy, or under Secretary Kennedy? Thank you.
Look, the Older Americans Act and the help that it provides to seniors, the senior centers, to congregate meal programs, to Meals on Wheels, to job opportunities for seniors is an enormously important provision, is a piece of legislation. I'm on the committee that deals with this stuff. We tried to expand it when I was chairman of the committee, and we're going to continue to do that. So the bottom line is, look, you got an administration right now which is in many ways illegally cutting back on funds that were appropriated, including money for HHS and the Older Americans Act. So all I can tell you at this point, they are going after so many important programs for children and seniors. This is one of them. We will fight them as hard as we can. And I will tell you the good news is there are a number of Republicans who understand how important these programs are to a senior community all over this country, where so many seniors are really hurting financially. So we're going to do everything that we can to not only protect, but to try to expand these programs.
Hi, Bernie. My name is Jane Katz-Field. Thank you so much for your leadership in the Senate in trying to limit weapons transfer to Israel. But could you explain why, when Israel's actions in Gaza met the legal and moral definitions of genocide a long time ago, you avoid using that term?
Well, I don't think, we can argue about the term. And I can tell you, there are reasons why. The issue is, whatever you call what's going on, it is horrifying. And I find too many people worrying about the terminology. What we have got to do right now is end all military aid to the government, which is destroying the Palestinian people in so many ways. That's the immediate task. Let's not worry about what the label is. Let's end these policies right now.
Raise your hand, please, if you have a question.
I've been reading, what's her name, Cox's emails on a regular basis. And the last 2 days, she's been talking about how Trump is over the line to being crazy and certifiable and utterly unreliable. I know that our Constitution has ways of dealing with that, but the Republicans stand in the way. What do you think is necessary for them to realize that they're following a madman?
Well, I would disagree with that. Trump is Trump. I don't think he is crazy. I think what he is doing is quite calculated. I think he has a strategy. And I think his strategy, which is not, from his perspective, not stupid, it's what you flood the zone. And that means every single day there's something out there. People can't keep up with it. He's moving very, very rapidly. But the goal is, for Trump, is what it has always been for demagogues. What do demagogues historically and around the world and today want? They want more wealth. They want more power. Since he has been president, we have seen, again, an unprecedented level of kleptocracy, of him making hundreds of millions of dollars or more, and his family, with all kinds of deals for his own personal wealth, protecting his oligarchic friends. and moving the country toward authoritarianism. So I would say, I don't think he's crazy. I think he knows what he's doing. He wants more wealth for himself and his family. He wants more power for himself. And the answer to how you respond to that is not easy. There's no magic solution. There's no one word. And the reason I'm going to be on a plane in a few hours is to do what I think has got to be done. We got to build a mass movement, a political movement all across this country, primarily of working people who understand that the system is not working for them. So we are trying very hard to grow that movement, to support candidates who are grassroots candidates, who represent working people, who can bring other people into the political movement. There is no shortcut. The only way you're going to win is through a mass movement of people who say to Trump, you know what? In the United States of America, we believe in democracy, not authoritarianism. In the United States, we want a government that represents ordinary people, not just the billionaire class. That's what we got to build.
Hello, Senator. My question, I have two questions, but one is, what you just described, why hasn't this happened yet?
I'm sorry, say that again?
This mass movement you're talking about,
Yeah.
Why hasn't it happened yet?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, that's a deep question. It is hard to get people to do what has never been done in American history. You got a political party. Republican Party is now a right-wing extremist party led by an authoritarian. Democratic Party has turned its back on working class people, and people all over the country are very uncomfortable about associating with the Democratic Party. They see the Democrats not having kept their promises or not having stood up with working people. So that is the political reality. How do you build? Where do you go from there? The strategy that we are trying is to say to people, and I have probably been as active as anybody in the Congress on this issue, we have within our own organization encouraged people all over the country to run for office. And you know how many people right now are in the process of learning how to run for office, local, state, federal? You have 7,000 people in almost every state in the country. And that's pretty good. We are working with our friends in the trade union movement to try to organize workers, et cetera, et cetera. So we are, but it ain't easy. And you got to remember that you have a political party in the Democratic Party where people do not have a lot of confidence. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to just bring more and more people into the political process around an agenda that is an agenda that the American people support. Let me give you an example, just a few. All right, if you go out to the American people and you say, do we have a corrupt campaign finance system? Whether you're Democrat, Republican, people will say yes. What does that mean? We got to get rid of this Citizens United Supreme Court decision. If you ask people, is the health, let me ask you all right now, you tell me, is the American healthcare system broken or not? Yes. All right, everybody says that. Every state in the country. We pay in Vermont, we pay some of the highest rates in the country for healthcare. We don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough nurses. Hospitals are stressed out. We are the only major country on earth not to guarantee healthcare to all people. Democratic Party has got to stand for healthcare for all, Medicare for all. You know, it used to be when we were kids, and I speak to you as a fellow senior citizen, when we were kids, many colleges, state colleges and universities, or city colleges, were tuition free. Some of you remember that? Yes. My brother, I grew up in Brooklyn. My brother graduated from Brooklyn College, which was an excellent college. You know how much tuition was? $0. So if 70 years ago or so, major and good colleges and universities could be tuition free, why can't we do that now? You know, why can't we? So what I'm saying is, here's what I'm saying. You asked me the question is why there is not a political movement. And it's a complicated answer. But we need to mobilize people around an agenda that makes sense to them. healthcare for all, educational opportunity for all, demand that the rich start paying their fair share of taxes, dealing with climate in a way that creates jobs and works with other countries around the world so that we leave a planet that is habitable to our kids and our grandchildren, etc., etc. All right? So it's a complicated issue, but, you know, it's something we're working 24/7 on. Other questions?
Yep, we're running the mic.
Thank you, Bernie, for doing everything that you are doing. However, I am concerned because the Democratic leadership has proven ineffectual to stop Trumpism and often takes money from the same folks as the Republicans do. Why? I'm tired of picketing. I want to do a general strike. We need to start having other tools besides standing around with signs. And in Europe, general strikes tend to work fairly well, like in France and Norway. Your thoughts, please.
I think we got to look. I was in North Carolina with a guy, I don't know how many of you know him. His name is the Reverend William Barber. Does that ring a bell? A good guy. I like him very much. And, you know, he spoke along with me. And, you know, he talked about using different tools now. And, you know, went back to reference Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the way that segregation was defeated in America was through a mass movement, through nonviolent action of various sorts. So I do think that we've got to be thinking boldly about ways that we can mobilize people and be effective in stopping the ugly aspects of the Trump agenda. So I think all ideas are on the table. Now, to talk about a general strike is, it's believe me, it's a lot harder to bring about than just to talk about. So it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of organization. But the idea of bringing people together around mass actions, whatever they may be, is certainly something that should be placed on the table as an option.
Senator Sanders, here we are in Brattleboro, Vermont. And in Brattleboro, we're half a skip and a jump away from the closed, thank God it's closed, Vermont Yankee nuclear power plant. And I was appalled to hear that they're thinking of reinstituting nuclear power, trying to tell us it's clean. Every bit, every scrid of used uranium is there in Vermont Yankee. It's still there. It'll be there for thousands of years. I am so opposed to reinstituting nuclear power. It is not safe.
So I had an issue I have not paid attention to for a number of years. We worked to help close down Vernon. So I've not been. I'm assuming what you're saying is that the uranium is still on the banks of the Connecticut River, right?
Right. AI.
Yeah.
AI is demanding.
They're talking about using it for AI, to power AI.
Yeah. All right. The answer is obviously the alternative, the way we've got to move, what I've been working for, and where there is enormous potential, is sustainable energies like solar and wind. And the issue of AI, that's a whole other issue, which we could spend several hours talking about. Other than to say, I am very nervous about the implications of AI, both in terms of you're raising the environmental impact, the enormous amount of electricity and water is going to need. That is a major concern. I am concerned about what it will do to the economy. There are estimates that millions of entry-level jobs for young people will be eliminated. I'm worried about what it means for education and whether kids will be able to be involved in critical thinking or getting their information from a machine. Privacy issues, it is an incredibly huge issue, which my office is beginning to get involved in. But I do share your concern, absolutely. If your question was the impact of AI on electricity and the environment, it is an absolutely legitimate concern, and we certainly should not be reopening Vernon. All right, maybe one or two more questions, James.
Sounds good. We got another one coming up.
Good afternoon, Senator Sanders. I have a question that is of great import to virtually every single person in this room, and that has to do with the fact that the Social Security Trust Fund is slated to run out of money sometime around 2033. I know that this is a big issue in your political life, and I applaud you for advocating on our behalf, but what's it going to take for the rest of those feckless a-holes in Congress to get this problem solved? Thank you.
Okay. This is, all right, let me just say two things. In my view, and Trump would deny it, but in my view, at the end of the day, what Musk and Trump and their friends want to do is to eventually privatize Social Security. You may recall that when Trump gave his State of the Union speech, he got up there and he talked about how people who were 150 or 200 or 300 years of age were getting Social Security benefits. You remember that? It's all a lie. It was all a lie. And in fact, very shortly afterwards, we had the guy he nominated to head the Social Security Administration come before our committee. And I asked them, well, tell me, how many people get Social Security benefits who don't deserve them, who haven't paid into it? And he said less than 1%. So 99 point whatever people who get Social Security paid into the program and deserve it. But what they're trying to do in cutting back on Social Security staff at the Social Security Administration, ultimately they're trying to weaken Social Security, make people lose confidence in Social Security so that they can privatize it. That's my own view. But you asked the question, what do we do? And the answer is amazingly simple. Right now, if somebody makes $10 million a year and another person makes $186,000 a year, roughly speaking, they both put the same amount of money into the Social Security Trust Fund because there's a cap on taxable income. If you lift that cap, scrap the cap, you can not only extend the solvency of Social Security, you can do as I think we have absolutely got to do, and that is increase Social Security benefits. I don't know. To me, I just learned this. I mean, I got a lot of facts and figures that come before my desk. But I learned about 2 years ago, and this was an astounding fact, 22% of seniors in America are trying to survive on $15,000 a year or less. I don't know how anybody survives on $15,000 or less. And then you got about half of the senior population trying to survive on $30,000 a year, which is tough as well. So we have clearly got to pay more attention to the economic needs of seniors, and there is no reason why we should not be lifting that cap, bringing more money into the system, increasing benefits, and extending the solvency of Social Security. All right, I have got to get off now, but let me thank you all again. My apologies for not being with you today. I look forward to getting down to Brattleboro as soon as I can. We'll get together. But thank you all very much for coming out. Have a great day. Take care.
there, and then from there he went to wherever, and then from there he went, you know, so he did a hop, skip, and a